a lot of little tiny shops across the street before the police took over.
When the old Union Church moved into their new space and vacated this building, they never desanctified the building. So technically it's still a functioning Methodist or some kind of denominational church.
You see that angle? That's because of upstairs theater. The floor is at an angle. High there and low here.
There wasn't much here except, entrance or to come out of the sanctuary and then to go downstairs. There was no elevator. This is the restroom.
Is it still a restroom? No? Oh, it's just...
I don't know what this is anymore, but the restroom is upstairs now.
Upstairs, you mean?
The next level up.
Oh, on the balcony level?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't remember this either.
Yeah, I don't remember that either. That must be new.
I've been coming to this church since about 1952, probably.
This is 1922. 3 people in the building of the old Union Church. There was a Forsyth building on Evergreen Avenue where people who left the concentration camps resided temporarily while they relocated to Los Angeles. And my father was conducting the service.
During the war, this was actually one of the office where the War Relocation Authority, I guess the Army or whoever it was, they actually had their office right in the pastor's offices there on the ground floor. LA Art Corps is in there now, and but that's where the WRA set up their office. And then a lot of people were told to report in front of the church, and then they got loaded up onto buses and then taken to the camps.
During the World War II, this place or this area was called Brownsville. The Afro-American people, came from the South and lived in this area, looking for employment, and so it was an overcrowded situation. I remember people looking out the window, or sitting on the windowsill on the second floor or the third floor, just looking, around. But eventually we were able to, regain the possession of the Union Church. Then my father was called to be the pastor. I don't think I heard him actually put it in those words, but certainly the emphasis was to bring people back to Los Angeles, to Little Tokyo, as well as to the Union Church.
In the 1960s and early 70s, the city had bought all this land. The building itself was no longer up to earthquake code, so the church had the choice of either fixing it up and staying or moving to another site. And since the church was on this property that the city was looking to expand into, it felt that it needed to move anyway. in the late 1970s. Mayor Tom Bradley actually was the one who had the vision for the East-West Players to be in this building. All three of the tenants, East-West Players, Visual Communications, LA Art Corps, those were all arts-oriented groups. So the Union Center for the Arts, so we thought it kind of encompassed the old name of Union Church along with the Center for the Arts.
This section's always interesting. So this shows you the ground level. San Pedro or Judge John Aiso is over here. And when you entered, this was LA Art Corps space. Directly up above was the sanctuary, kind of like proscenium theater. In the basement, all the way in the back here, was visual communications. The primary space is a two-story space with a stair on each side. And then we create a loft space basically surrounding that.
One of the things that's really, really crazy about this is that when East West put out their season brochure for the new season in the brand new building, there is a white cross on the top of the church, and somebody had photoshopped that cross out. So we took a look at that and we're saying, oh, we're messing with the spirits of the church. So one of the things that we made sure that we did with all of the tenants that were going to be moving this building the week before the big move was that we did a sage burning throughout the entire building, right? So that whoever it was here, would give us their blessings to move into this place.
It was quite a feat because we had to keep the existing altar intact because it's a historic building, but at the same time turn it into a theater. It was pretty cool to see the transition because you have a church of God turning into a church of art, but yet there is something very sacred about the way that we treat our art here. I'm always trying to figure out, as a church, what that lobby meant to a lot of people there, whether it was a wedding or a funeral or just a Sunday gathering. But you can picture a lot of the things that happened there.
When we were like 6, 7, 8 years old, my brother and I, we would come to this church because it was open and kind of be bratty and run around. And there used to be an old man who was kind of a guard or a security person. He lived here, I believe, a member of the church. I remember he's bald-headed and kind of must have been in his 80s. So he used to chase us out. I understand his ghost occupies this building and that people run across a person who's kind of watching the building. So it could be the ghost of that old man.
I think from the very beginning that I interpreted it to be a historic adaptive reuse, where you're basically taking a building that had one function, it became outdated, and you look for another function for the building to make it active and vibrant again.
They say if these walls could talk, what kind of stories would they say? And I think the old Union Church, having been a foundation for the community dating back into the 20s, and to kind of be resurrected, you might say, as a cultural arts center, brings life back. It brings in arts, it brings in people. These people hopefully will support the businesses and the restaurants. And so it kind of helps to keep the community alive, not just with business, but with culture. And, what more can you ask of a building like that?